God is good. God is good all the time. Fresh out the hospital. They told for me to get some bed rest. I told them that probably ain't going to happen. So let me go ahead and get this thing started. Plain and simple, the Republican Party of Virginia is trying to hustle Merle Rutledge and the rest of the candidates that refuse to pay $15,000 to be on the ballot, to be on their nomination list, their, sellout list. That's what I call it. So I looked over at the Democrats of Virginia, the pieces of trash on that side. They pay $3,500, which is reasonable. But on the Republican side, they're charging each candidate $14,000 to be on the ballot. So I said that's almost 4 times as much as the Democrats. And for the last decade, we've been losing. And I said, why is it all of a sudden $14,000? Well, first they said, well, when we were planning to do it at Liberty, we was having that extra fee just to cover the costs for the convention to be at Liberty. Now, the convention ain't at Liberty University. It sounds like you're trying to hustle me because guess what? If that's the case, you no longer having that at Liberty University. Why is the fee still at $14,000? The fact is they was adding a poll tax for each candidate to be on the ballot. I guess they want us to buy each of the SCC and the rest of them overpaid execs a brand new car. And I refuse to do that. Period. And I'm like, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this whole thing out. See, they was trying to figure out how to do the whole nomination process because one, they was late as hell. At first, it was supposed to be a symbol convention. People then was mad because it wasn't a primary and then sued. Then now, it was Liberty University supposed to be the location. They canceled. So basically, what it sounds like they was trying to do anything and everything to get their favorite pick to become the nominee. Now, mind you, Merle Rutledge has been throwing each and every one of them candidates under the bus. Every single forum I'm at, I win hands down, no questions asked. That's why you don't see those candidates after a forum talking about, hey, why don't you watch my performance? I did great. You know why they don't? Because they're like, hey, Merle Rutledge kicked your ass the last 4 or 5 times, and most of them didn't want to come back because they know I was going to be in the debate or the forum, and they didn't want to get embarrassed again because they're like, yo, he's a savage. Period. And it's not being savage and brutal and vicious just to be that way. It's just the fact that your policies allowed me to attack you because I could read through the bull. Period. So when they came up with this whole $14,000 science project, this what it was really all about. And trust me, this is not going to end. When I said I was going to Florida, think about who's in Florida and who in the world is inviting me to Florida. Think about it. And I'm going to be there next week and enjoying the scenery, taking some pictures and enjoying myself. And then I'm going to come back up here and make the decision on what I plan to do next. And by that time frame, it's going to be a different story because it seems like they are cowards in the SCC and the RPV because they bow down to anybody who tells them to do whatever. Me, on the other hand, I'm not complaining about whether it's a primary or whether it's a convention, but common sense tells me $3,500 for Democrats and $14,000 for candidates. No, you sold out a whole party and you're going to sell out people's constitutional rights so the elite can stay rich. That's what it's all about right now. The RPV is broke, so what they are doing is having 7 different candidates who can afford $14,000. Mind you, 14 compared to $3,500. No, every single person on that ballot right now is $14,000. Forget the substance, forget what they're about. If I even ask their supporters, what is the person about? They're going to say the same thing. Oh, they pro-business, they all about guns, they all... But what's their plan? The reason is because they get destroyed. This was basically about keeping Merle Rutledge off of the ballot because they don't care about money. Factually, could I went ahead and paid 14,000? Yeah, I could have, but I said off the break, you're not gonna play me and hustle me. I can say that part. You're not gonna do that. Factually, what is happening right now should discuss every single Republican out there, whether you're a RINO, independent, whatever it may be. The fact of the matter is, right now, you have a bunch of candidates who got beat by Merle Rutledge in every single governor's forum that I've been in, each and every one of them. So it hasn't been anybody eliminated from the ass whippings I give out. And I post up the governor's forum so everybody could watch how I dog them out. Realistically, Youngkins, Chase, Cox, Snyder, all of these millionaires who could cut a check, doesn't care. I guarantee you, they was trying to get it as high as possible just to keep Merle Rutledge off of that ballot. That's what it was all about. And right now, our nomination is being bought off. Right now, a bunch of their supporters and those who are doing the endorsement, ask them straight up, how much campaign cash did those millionaires and those elites give you? Those politicians, the same politicians we all have a problem with, the same politicians that led us to getting locked down and putting us through this bull, those are the ones right now who paid the fee, because guess what? They had the lobbyists, special interest groups, the PACs, and all of them paying that fee. And guess what we're going to get out of this? We're going to get a nominee. We're not going to get a Republican governor. And they're going to dog us out for this one. Factually. This has been going on for quite some time, man. I already said I knew it wasn't going to be easy in this race, but I definitely ain't going to quit on some BS like this, because nothing I'm saying is not true. The fact is, people need to start asking some questions to the SCC and to Rich Anderson, both of them, and start saying, why is it that it's $14,000 all of a sudden this year, right after a pandemic, and it's only still $3,500 for the Democrats? You know what? Democrats now have way more money to start blowing out any of our competition. And mind you, our front runner is last behind Justin Fairfax, who had no chance of winning. He has raised more money than our current quote-unquote front runner. And you wondering why? Because, hey, $14,000 minus off of nobody trying to really put no money out there like talking about it, because they're like, yo, y'all keep losing. And you wondering why? You know what? They have already gave up on 2021, the RPV. They already gave it up. So now it's about elites, their friends, their lobbyists getting money and just passing it around. Our little circle going to get rich while everybody in Virginia's constitutional rights get violated. And guess what? They ain't going to have a problem because they're around the politicians. So they're going to get away with the stuff that the ordinary Joe can't get away with. And they're going to be fine. They're going to be like, yeah, we got a business connection. Our families and our side is fine. We ain't going to go through that. But the rest of the citizens in Virginia will. So, no, I'm not going to pay $14,000 like those stupid elites and those politicians. We're going to continue to fight this situation because this was what it was all about. It was about silencing Merle Rutledge. That's what it was about. That's all it was. They say he's too strong. The last debate was me, Kirk Cox, Chase, Youngkin, and De La Pena. And De La Pena is not even a part of this one because I'm like, me and him cool. I don't have a problem. That guy knows his business. But the fact of the matter is, they all say Merle Rutledge is the man when it comes down to dominating gubernatorial forums, taking a whole crowd that's pro whoever and making it pro his crowd, and I'm doing it for pennies on the dollar while they around super PACs and all this other bullshit talking about I don't take money from this. No, they do. There's plenty of records. They just happy to say the lie and lie to people in front of their face and say that they don't. So you gotta ask yourself, from the RPV, SCC, or people just looking outside the box, looking at the swamp, how can Merle Rutledge go 6-0 in debates and forums? 6-0. Also, is tied with Kirk Cox by 1 percentage point in the polls. I'm the one ain't begging for money. And you're telling me his name is off the ballot. But the other ones who make everybody go to sleep, I call them NyQuil melatonin, the ones who don't even have you interested in watching the forums because you're so busy kissing their ass, they on the ballot right now. No, those are the ones who paid $14,000 and got hustled is up there on the ballot. And guess what? Guarantee you like this. I'm going to fight this every single kind of way, but I'm going to still back the nominee. But guaranteed, it's going to be a situation where there's going to be some huge questions and it's going to be a whole bunch of people pissed off nationwide. And you know why? Because they know what was done was intentional to keep Merle Rutledge off the ballot because y'all favorite hacks, y'all favorite politicians and clowns that keep money into your pocket while you drain the funds of the Republican Party. That's exactly what they're there for. Rich Anderson is there for that too. Period. You ask him, what did you need $14,000 for, and why isn't Merle Rutledge on the ballot? And they're going to all have some kind of excuses. And you just look at the Democrat side. It's $3,500. They don't have no increase. $369 for the other little slots like lieutenant governor and the rest. We, on the other hand, $14,000, and maybe a couple of thousand for the last spot. I'm like, this whole thing is about getting rid of anybody who fights the establishment, and they're going to raise the fees in kind of way. What happens when you have a candidate that you like, and since they don't like them, raise up the fee to what? What's next? $50,000 since people come off on 14? No. It's called being hustled. And it's called, basically, you buy nominations while we lose elections. That's because they already gotten complacent and settled with it. Do you think they believe any of those candidates is going to take out McAuliffe? No. They know Merle Rutledge could. Merle Rutledge took out all of their candidates. So ask them on that part and start raising some hell. I tell my supporters, Rich Anderson, email them, call them. SCC members, email and call them and find out why does it cost $14,000, and is any of those candidates that's on the ballot that y'all made a press release about, how many paid all that money, and how many of y'all really know any of their issues to say, hey, I back them? What kind of forums did they win? What kind of competition did they face? What you gonna start noticing? When you start watching those governors' forums and those debates, seeing what they're about, the ones I won, you're going to say to yourself, that's why you didn't want him on the ballot. Because he wasn't part of your establishment or your swamp, and he wasn't playing your game. So guess what? That's why they raised the fee. Because at first it was supposed to be $5,000. Find out why in the world it went up 150% from that point. Think about it. And you gotta say, hey, a pandemic, COVID, and all this other stuff, there's some questions out here. Like I said, I'm going to get myself ready for Florida next week, and we're going to continue this fight. So none of y'all candidates could get comfortable with what y'all doing, because guess what? That poll tax and all that other crap, is some people right now that's top level that's really looking into this one. And guess what? I guarantee you I'll end up being back on the ballot. About it. Because it seems like y'all do anything any of these politicians want you to do. So maybe I need to get somebody bigger to do things that y'all don't want to do. But nobody should be getting hustled. Y'all should be giving a refund back to candidates. Because the very reason why y'all said y'all raised the filing fee was for the very reason y'all no longer have or never had existed. Because Liberty already said y'all never got their permission. So, there's some answers. And there's a lot of questions. And I'm telling people, definitely do it. Alright. Y'all have a good one. I'm back from the hospital. I'm going to take some time to get some rest. God bless you. And God bless America.